So if you think back to the web quest we did before viewing The Namesake, I asked you to find a few key terms before viewing the film, and one of them was Dharma. And hopefully you came up with the idea that Dharma is the idea that everything has a place in the cosmos, that there's a principle order to things as far as they go in our lives. And this is a belief of Indian culture, and it's something that we see a lot through the lives of Ashok and Ashima. We get a lot of talking about Ashima's Dharma, or where she sees herself as important, her life and the role she's supposed to play, and it's certainly something that we see as more traditional in the sense of Indian culture. Then we see Ashok and him trying to play this role of the man, the leader of the family, and a lot of times we feel like he's miscast in that role. Ashok is a very likable character, but one that's very vulnerable, one that's really easy to love and to appreciate, but he tries to play himself off in this really tough guy role. And then finally we also see it, a very interesting comparison or contrast even more, in the relationship between Moshami and Gogol towards the end of the film, where Moshami sees Dharma and really doesn't appreciate it, especially as it pertains to her Bengali roots. So when Ashima first comes to America, we see her really struggling. We see her having great difficulty with even simple things like making breakfast. Here in these scenes, we see her pouring herself some Rice Krispies, and obviously it's not quite right to her, so she actually sprinkles in some red chili into her Rice Krispies. Now, I love red chili probably more than most people, and I am often scolded for putting hot sauce and red chili flakes in everything, but even me, this seems odd. This is symbolic of her inability to fit in, to accept American culture right away. Yet, at the same time, she's narrating a letter she's writing home talking about how wonderful America is and how easily she's fitting in, because she knows it's her responsibility to play this role, and that is what Dharma tells her she has to do. Now, as far as Dharma goes, especially in the masculine sense, we see it mostly out of Ashok, especially when he's at the hospital. The actor that plays Ashok does a great job in expressing that he's really in a lot of discomfort. He's in a lot of pain. He's having trouble talking. He's grasping at himself. But he says, "Oh, I'm just in for a little stomach pain. Must have been some of the food I ate." When in actuality, we find out later that he's actually in the middle of a massive heart attack. This is him playing the role that he believes that he has to. Obviously, as viewers, and especially fans of Gogol, we don't like Moshami all that much, especially kind of the foreshadowing and knowing what's inevitably going to come. But it's important to point out that their separation, their being Americanized Indian culture, and their lack of belief in Dharma, Moshami here worries that she's going to become that same thing that Ashima thought that she needed to be. In the end, we have to ask ourselves, what role does Dharma play in the lives of the main characters, and how does it show a difference between the two generations, mainly between Ashok and Ashima, and Moshami and Gogol?